half. Do you think that broke the flow a little bit as well?
I don't think we can blame injuries. We just wanted to get the tempo going. Of course, we're hoping Eric's not too badly injured. Rashi he struggled with his shoulder, and he came through an hour, but couldn't do more.
Where does this leave you, Ollie, in terms of top four?
Well, I don't think you can give up until it's theoretically over. But of course, it's a big mountain to climb. 2 games. We need to focus on them to do our best for ourselves as well. Win games again, and see where what the other games will throw up. Because the end of this season has thrown a few marginal decisions, strange results. Anything can happen.
How big a setback would it be if you don't make the top four, particularly after the way you started, 14 wins in 17?
Of course, we still want to finish the season on a high, and let's see where that takes us now. Let's see how many points we can get, and I can answer that when and if.
What did you change then to close the spaces and get control?
We tried to stay more close to Higuain, of course. Otherwise, it was impossible to cover the ball to the other defenders, and so we did it better in the second.
You didn't quite finish that answer. Can you see him playing in the Champions League for Chelsea next season?
I think Chelsea will get into the Champions League. Whether Hazard will be there with them, I feel it might be right time for him personally, not for Chelsea or the Premier League, but for him to go to Real Madrid if that offer's there on the table for him. He deserves to play in that sort of that team. And they've got a rebuild going on as well. But I personally would love to see him play in the Premier League, but I got a feeling he might move if there's that sort of move.
And how much of a hole then does that leave in the way Chelsea play going?
Absolutely. Yeah. Chelsea at the moment, as I said before, I don't know, there's something missing there firing, but a Chelsea without Hazard in the team, you take him out and all the hope. The only player that was really dangerous for Chelsea first half when they weren't playing so well, United were on top, was Hazard. Hazard was doing everything that he normally does. He looked sharp, he was beating players. Every time he had the ball, something was going to happen. Now, you take him away from that team at the moment and you've got a massive hole to fill. Can you fill it? Probably not. And it's a real big concern for Chelsea at the moment. I think that's where they're at as a club. They're at their crossroads, really. I said it before the game, even with the owner, the new stadium not coming, there's a lot of players that are coming to end of contracts. They don't know the transfer scenario as well, embargo. So all these things are not positive. The main thing they've got to do is switch off from that, 2 games, get into that top 4 or win the Europa. They're still in a good position to win that in the semi-final. So that might be a route into the Champions League. But I think they'll end up in the 4th spot, yeah.
They haven't added many players to the squad. They got Gonzalo Higuain in on loan. He hasn't really hit the ground running. But right at the death in this one, he had a good chance, didn't he, to win it?
He had a poor game for me. He didn't make the right move. But that is where he showed his real cuteness. You see how he's jumped to come back in onside. Look, he just jumps back in, gets level and goes again. It's a lovely little ball in. If he squares it to Hazard, he's got a tap in and Chelsea get the 3 points. But it was asking a lot for him probably to see that. And there's De Gea coming out making a decent save, an unusual save with his arm. Sorry, the manager thinks that they've pinched the 3 points right at the death there. But that's the one thing that Higuain, you can't go asleep on him, even if he's playing poorly. He's got that sort of movement in his locker.
That was positive from De Gea. We know we'll wake up to negative headlines in the morning. You just said he's in one of those periods at the moment where he's getting punished for every single error.
Yes, he is. And look, every player, whether you're an outfield player, whether you're a goalkeeper, obviously it's going to be more highlighted when you're a goalkeeper that when you make a mistake, you pay for it. And he's just having that 4 or 5 weeks now. A critical point for United in the season, really, in the league, when they are really fighting to get into the Champions League spots. It looks more and more difficult now. You'd expect them to win the last 2 games, but there's a lot that needs to happen elsewhere now that's looked probably unlikely. But David's been a great keeper for 5 years, 5-6 years, whatever he's been. He's saved United numerous times, so United fans and people will give him a lot of leeway, and he fully deserves that. He's having a bad time, but he'll come through it.
Yeah, he is. The confidence is low. Normally, when he's playing at his very best, those shots come in from goalkeepers in training. They're taught soft hands. You make it soft hands. He's grabbed at it. He's tried to grab it, and it's popped out. And that's what happens when your confidence is low. You're dreading it as it's travelling towards you. You're actually, rather than enjoying the save, it's going the other way for him. And there's a few mistakes here. Again, what we're saying there, Paul, I don't know what he was thinking there as a goalkeeper. And here again, totally out of in the wrong position, as simple as that.
I think it's just a lack of confidence, as we said. He looks all over the place at the minute. Again, Glenn spoke about him. He seems to go for everything with his feet, and he's stuck in between the two there. That's a save with his hands, but his mind's so confused that he's
But as
not
you rightly
really
said
sure.
earlier on, we shouldn't forget, time and time again, he's got this team out of trouble.
He has. He's done it for 4 or 5 years. As I said, I think United are lucky to be a top 6 team without him. He's been that influential. I think it was the Player of the Year at the Club Awards from, I think it's the last 4 years. So that tells you everything about him.
He needs to go home and someone needs to show him a video of all them great saves he's been making. He needs to edit it out of his head. Where he's at is at this moment in time. It's like a striker when you're missing chances. You have to re-edit it in your mind. The more you ponder on it, the more you think about it, the longer it lasts. He'll come through it, but he needs to go home and look at all the positive things that he's done over this season and last season and remind himself how good he is as a goalkeeper.
There's nothing worse as a player being out of confidence. When your confidence is low, we've all had spells. Sometimes, even as a midfield player, you're thinking, I can't pass the ball 5 yards. For some reason, you just go. You have a spell where you have shots that normally you bang them on target straight, and for some reason, just it all drains out of you, and you wonder where your next goal's coming from as a forward, as an attacking midfield player. Next clean sheet's coming from the way he's going, but he's quality. We know he's top quality. He's one of the very best in the world, and he'll come through it.
Let's get some reaction from Old Trafford. We are delighted to welcome Cesar Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Good positive point for your team today?
Hello, good afternoon. Well, obviously we didn't start the game very well. We conceded an early goal and it put us in a difficult position, but despite other games we stayed in the game and we fought until the end, and had the last couple of minutes I think we had better chances to score and to get the 3 points.
Yeah, you could have won it at the end with Gonzalo Higuain.
Yeah, unlucky that one.
And what does it say about Chelsea, finally? I mean, you've struggled away against the top 6 this season, to come from behind at a place like Old Trafford and get a positive result?
Well, we have seen that every game is very tough for every team to get the points. Today we started the game and we knew that it was a great chance to get the 3 points and to be in a very good position. But even though that early goal put us behind, and at least today we did great. We stayed in the game. We fought. That goal before halftime was very important, and I think in the second half the team grew in confidence, played better, and at the end I think we had the best chances apart from the corner.
And 2 games to go. How important is it in terms of the top 4 to have your destiny in your own hands? You're not relying on anybody else now.
Yeah, that's it. It's in our hands. We have 2 tough games. But the objective was to arrive into the last games with
4 of a chance of winning a European trophy.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown his mettle, isn't he? A bit like a player, when you lose confidence, a lot of the fans wanted him out. 6 weeks ago? They were turning on him a little bit, but he kept his nerve, and the players have responded for him. That's the important thing, to see the players, how Chelsea have responded. They've done ever so well. And I think on Thursday nights now, that's a priority. I think slowly the number 1 team was starting to be played on a Thursday, thinking he wants silverware for Chelsea. I think that's a real priority for him, and he can get into the Champions League that way. It looks as if they're going to get in through but a few weeks ago that looked as if that wasn't going to happen, the top 4, I must say. So credit to him, he's turned them round, and whether they're playing at their very best, I'm not so sure. I think there's more to come from Chelsea. If the right players are played, in my opinion, in the right position, I think Giroud deserves a chance in the Premier League to be playing, things like that. And I think, as we said, Conte. But you're looking at their fixtures. Watford at home, who have got the FA Cup to think about. Leicester away will be a tough one. That will be a tough game. There's no doubt about it. But I just think they're in the right position at the moment.
Of course, United know all about what winning the Europa League can do if you don't finish in the top four when you're at this stage and so close.
Yeah, and that's... Well, look, Chelsea looked like they could finish... Well, they could definitely finish fourth, couldn't they? But having the Europa League on, not in the background, but you know, it's a big way to get into the Champions League, as United found. They've done great to get so far. It's still going to be difficult to do that. It's not easy to go and win a big competition like that. But you know, they're in with a good shot. And do you know, I don't think Chelsea are that far away. I enjoy watching Chelsea. I just think, as Glenn said, there's a couple of issues that need sorting out. I thought from right at the start of the season there was always going to be an issue with Conte and Jorginho, especially in the away games. And you've seen the away games against the big teams. He doesn't have the legs to get around the pitch. At Chelsea, it's fine. It's all tight. It's close. He doesn't get exposed. I think in away games he gets exposed. Yeah. I think the centre forward's a problem for him. I think Higuain was poor today, and as Glenn said, I thought Giroud, at least the last 20 minutes, would have been given a chance. They almost played with 10 men today. What they'll do, if Hazard goes, I'm not too sure. That's obviously going to be a big problem. Whatever team he's out of, he's going to suffer. But in the main, I enjoy watching. I think they've got some good footballers, but have they got enough to go and challenge for the league? I think they're still 2 or 3 players short on that, maybe.
I think the top teams, when they play against the top teams, you know, that's the point they've got against United, one of the top teams in the league. They've struggled. And I'm surprised he hasn't had that flexibility in that midfield to maybe play Conte and Jorginho square of each other.
Yeah,
as a two, and bring Hazard in behind and then play your wide.
Why is that, as a manager? Stubbornness, do you think?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps he hasn't seen it, or somebody in his... Sometimes it's just someone in your staff that gives you another bit of clarity and just look at... what about if we did it this way away from home? Tighten up with 2 being square. They don't go anywhere. They protect the back 4. And then we let Hazard go and play. Something a little bit different. They might find that they can get some better results against the top teams.
One matter, of course, won European trophies with Chelsea. His first goal against them today, and at this stage, things were looking really rosy for Manchester United, weren't they?
Well, he hadn't played for a while, Mata, and he was good. He was good, especially the first half an hour. He looked lively, sharp. A lot of the best play went through him. This was something Lukaku did very well. Something I was surprised with, actually. Me and Glenn were both surprised with that. We weren't really sure he had this in his locker. But this is what Luke Shaw gives you as well. His penetration. I think he should do it more often. I think the thing with Mata, I think United fans aren't sure about him because of his lack of pace. But today, when he's played in the central areas, he's a lot better. When you talk about lack of pace, he's been playing on the right-hand side, and we know he's not a wide player. Never in a million years. He's never got the pace to be a wide player. But he's played in a central area. He gets off the front, he can turn, he can play a pass, he's got a goal in him. And it makes a big difference to him, and he'll prefer so much playing in there rather than being stuck out wide. I
think Paul hit the nail on the head at the beginning. They were fresh in the first half. Yeah. They played well. Mata was playing in a good position for him. There was 4 or 5 players that had come in that hadn't played for some time, and their fitness levels were going to peter away. So I felt at half-time Chelsea were in a strong position, because I felt United it was like a boxer. They've given everything, but, you know, they didn't knock them out. Yeah. And they were always going to be depleted through energy and in that second half. And I think first half there was a lot for them in that diamond shape, for Ollie to think about going forward, because they had lots of energy, they had lots of passing movements. At times it was the old United that we've seen, but the goal they scored was a beautiful move put together, wasn't it? And you just felt they had to go and get a second in that first half period when their energy was up.
And let's hear now from the Manchester United goal scorer.